guys again for being with us and making some time for us right here today. So, Kelly, I guess I should start with you. Tell me a little bit about your military service. I understand while I was reading your bio, you're a Army medic, right?
Yes, so I initially started my service as an Army medic. That's what I enlisted as. And then about 12 or 13 years in, I commissioned as a nurse. And then I finished out my time as a nurse on an inpatient orthopedic floor.
Oh, cool. How long were you in the Army?
I spent an entire 20 years in the military, so I was able to make it to the finish line.
Glad that you made it there. So I want to talk about a little bit about after your military service. How did you get sort of involved with the Wounded Warrior Project, and how have they sort of been helping you in your transition back to getting involved with, cycling and competition and that journey?
I first learned about Wounded Warrior Project when I was an Army nurse, and being on an inpatient orthopedic floor at that time, there was a lot of wounded warriors coming from Iraq and Afghanistan. So I saw these representatives, sneak into these patients' rooms with these backpacks, and they'd come out with no backpack. And then I would ultimately go in the patient's room and they're wearing this like pretty cool swag. And I was just like, oh, okay, it's just like clothes, different things like that. But then I learned that there's much more services that Wounded Warrior Project was helping them out with. And when I became a patient on my own floor, I had Wounded Warrior Project representatives show up in my room, and that's when I really started utilizing the services that they had. The first thing that I really kind of got, introduced to was adaptive sports. Once I was able to start doing some rehab, I've always been an athlete. Sports has always been very, a big part of my life, even since a child. So that's the part where I felt the most comfortable, especially, surrounding around competition. And just going through a lot of uncertainty with medical issues, having this idea of sports for me was comforting. And then it transitioned to, more advocacy, more mental health, more resources, and then now the ability to give back and be able to encourage veterans to reach out and seek help. Because Wounded Warrior Project earned my trust, and I want to be able to, in some ways, give back to everything that they have done for me.
What kind of sports did you play growing up?
So I was a huge hooper. So basketball was, I still tell people, my first love. I did run cross country and track, but as a kid, there was just something about basketball. I'm still very much into basketball. I'm very much into sports in general in terms of like watching, participating, talking, reading, anything about sports. It's usually I'm there.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So, Meghan, I guess this next question is for you. I just want to talk about this Soldier Ride 250, obviously a pretty fitting event with, us coming up with the celebration of America's 250th anniversary of independence. So can you talk a little bit about like what the planning process was for an event like this?
Yes, this is a large-scale event. Soldier Ride program at Wounded Warrior Project is an adaptive cycling opportunity, bringing warriors together through the bonds of service to ride bikes and connect with one another. We typically offer multi-day events throughout the nation in different communities, but this year, to commemorate America 250, we're doing this large-scale event, riding a total of 1,000 miles from Jacksonville, Florida, all the way up to New York City. In total, we're bringing 80 warriors together. They're split into 4 different segments, 20 warriors each segment. So each segment over 4 days rides 250 miles, and the warriors will ride relay style each day to ride about half of those miles. So each day turns out to be about 60 to 65 miles. The planning is extensive for a ride like this. Of course, safety is the priority. So working through all the logistics of the route, of lodging, we provide all of the equipment for warriors as well. And then the recruitment of these warriors, we've provided a training plan so that they can be prepared and feel supported as they take on this challenge. And we're really looking forward to it. We're so close. Everyone's getting very excited.
And I know you guys are going to make a couple of stops in North Carolina, right?
Yes, excuse me. We are riding through both of the Carolinas. So starting in Jacksonville, Florida on our first day, May 14th, but then riding up through the Carolinas. We have many opportunities to engage with the community. So if you see us riding bikes, cheer us along, cheer them along. This is a tough challenge for many of the warriors. Of course, they're preparing, but to feel that support from the community is inspiring. It makes them feel welcomed home. It makes them feel connected. Transitioning from the military into civilian life can bring many challenges, and we're able to provide support through action now. So not only is this an opportunity to engage in physical activity, but to connect with America as well.
Kelly, how has participating in an event like this meant to you, especially, being a veteran?
Events like this, specifically, surrounding around America 250 and the Soldier Ride, it's a time of reflection for me. Reflection on my military history, but I would say more importantly, the men and women, especially as a combat medic, that we weren't able to save or bring home. So reflecting on the men and women that really did make the ultimate sacrifice. The other thing that I particularly liked about the Soldier Ride is to showcase the ability. As an amputee, I have visible injuries, but there are so many other, invisible injuries and other significant challenges that veterans face. So when you look at the Soldier Ride 250, you're going to see all sorts of ability out there, and have something like this be showcased in so many cities. It's something that I am incredibly proud and honored to be a part of. Yeah,
it's definitely really cool. Kelly, as Meghan just mentioned, there's going to be, 80 veterans taking a part in this journey. That means that you're one of 80. So, tell me about what the whole community has been like of all of you guys coming together.
For this particular ride, I don't know anyone. And,
oh, wow.
In some sense, there's a little bit of nervous energy towards that. But the other thing that I enjoy about the events that I have participated in with Wounded Warrior Project is it is so easy to feel connected with other veterans, because we share this language, service, just like-minded experiences that we're able to connect on a deeper level much quicker. So those bonds of brotherhood really kind of come together much faster than, typically you'd see, with civilians, or maybe doing something else that's not centered around veterans. So for me, it's there's some nervous energy. There's also a lot of excitement, but it's a way for me to kind of be back into an environment that feels very comfortable.
I think you guys can both help me out with this next question here. Where can folks go to learn more about the Wounded Warrior Project and the Soldier Ride 250?
Sure. To learn more about Wounded Warrior Project and Soldier Ride 250, you can visit our website, woundedwarriorproject.org.
Any final thoughts for us?
Thank you so much for having us. And again, if you see this group of riders out in your community on the roads, cheer them along, provide support. It means so much to welcome them home, but also to encourage them on not only this ride, but in their journey to healing.
Well, Kelly and Meghan, thanks so much for taking some time to talk with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.